Hi guys, it's Jimmy Fluke here for Apex Racing Academy. This is our Daytona track guide, not just for week 4 of the Sports Car Challenge by Falcon Tire, but also for the Roar before the 24. As well as these track guides, we're also giving away the Mercedes-AMG GT4 data packs for free this season. So that includes all of your setups, that includes qualifying and race setups, your reference lap files, so that's your B lap and O lap reference lap files, and replay files as well. On top of that, we also provide group coaching sessions on a Tuesday evening, hosted by myself, where you can ask any questions relating to the GT4 series. All you have to do is go to apexracingac.com. There's a link in the description below to get yourself the data pack for free this season. In regards to the circuit this week, this is actually a pretty good track for the Mercedes. It has a really good 6th gear, so even though it lacks the acceleration maybe some of the other cars 1st through 5th, its 6th is geared quite nicely for the circuit, so it should be pretty effective towards the end of the straights. But without further ado, let's get stuck in. Another reminder, guys, that you can get this season's Mercedes-AMG GT4 data pack for free over at apexracingac.com or by following the link in the description below. So into the lap we come here at Daytona. So over to the right hand side we go, and turn 1 comes at you pretty quick from the start finish line. We're looking towards where the dash line here, 3/4 of the way up the banking is, and we're going to brake just slightly after that, especially if you're in a train and then a bit of traffic. You're going to want to be able to spot this from some distance back. The caution light is a little bit too deep to use as a viable guide. So just after that point, gently onto the brakes and keeping the car nice and wide on entry here. So not too high on the peak pressure. And get the car down to the 3rd gear and then out towards the white line. No wider than that. The line that you would maybe take in a prototype versus a GT4 is going to be slightly different, just due to the agility that those cars would have at such a speed. So from here, we're aiming towards the pit wall on the inside. So bleed out of the brake, let the car hop up over the crown of the road, and then apexing as tight to the pit wall here as possible, picking up the white line, ideally avoiding the grass, but if you need to clip a tiny little bit of it, then that's not the end of the world here. Aggressive with the throttle pickup, and then let the car just ease out towards the outside curbing. We don't need to use any of the outside curbing because we need a little bit of angle to get through the little chicane here before we get to the first of the 2 horseshoes in the infield. So up in the 4th gear, and then good bit of discipline required. Bring the car hard over to the left hand side and then straighten the car out before the first horseshoe. Braking sort of in this sort of area here. You can maybe use a little patch of grass as a guide, but for me, it's just a consistency thing. I'll bring the car over to the left, straighten it, and then get onto the brakes, and I'll work it out from there, because you can kind of take this corner in a multitude of different ways. So hard straight line braking, down into second, and slowly tip the car in, nicely at apex, picking up the throttle basically as soon as I get onto the white line, maybe just a fraction before it, and generally trying to avoid the inside curb. The car pulls a lot on the inside curb, so it's really important to not pick up too much throttle whilst taking the curb, because the back end will try and step out then. Traction is critical here, so try and open up the steering, commit to full throttle, and then walk the car out towards the outside curb, using everything that we need to on the way out. So from here, up to 4th, and we'll eventually grab 5th as well. Flat through to the kink, but making sure that we stay really tight to the left here so that we can open up the second of the horseshoes here. So braking point, as soon as this access road opens up on the left-hand side, this has changed in terms of like the cones and stuff from maybe a year ago or so. As soon as we get left side wheels almost into the access road itself, then we want to get onto the brakes. So initial straight line braking before feeding the car inside of the seam here. This is where sort of all the grip is. And just the nature of the corner, we want to apex super early and rotate the car early so we can straighten the car quickly and open it up and use the wide exit that we have available to us. So down into second, again, not super hard on the peak pressure because we're trying to feed the car in towards the inside early here. That means we have to be sort of cautious in terms of brake pressure. We can't overload the front tires here. Trying to pick up the inside curb to generate a little bit of rotation, and then gently does it with the throttle pickup in second. Again, we're running super low downforce, so we just don't have the grip on the rear axle that we would love for the infield, but we need to prioritize the straight line speed around here. So the car may dance just a little bit on corner exit here, trying to use absolutely all of the exit available to us. So over to the right hand side we come towards turn 6, which is the run onto the banking. Just where the access road opens up on the right hand side here. We'll use that as our guide for getting onto the brakes. So up into 4th, then we'll come down 2 gears into 3rd. Braking in a straight line initially, down into 2nd. It's quite important actually to turn in fairly early here. Utilize the curb and maybe even a little bit of the grass on the inside just to help pull the car around, hook the car around, and that'll allow us to get straight and quicker so we can apply the throttle earlier. Again though, not super hard on the peak pressure here. We're not taking a ton of speed off here. So gently does it initially over the bumps before then committing to full throttle just where the track surface changes slightly. And then you can approach this in a couple of different ways. You can either keep it fairly shallow here and prioritize a shorter run onto the banking, or arc it out a little bit wider, but I wouldn't say throw the car all the way out to the wall. That's maybe just a little bit too ambitious for the cars of this sort of speed. From here though, we can keep it absolutely pinned. In fact, I'll just zip it on a little bit quicker. Just shifting up on the when the dash goes completely red, and over to the right hand side we come towards the bus stop chicane, or the Le Mans chicane as it's called now. I think I'll always call it the bus stop. So the caution light on the right hand side here, which is about, it is pretty much bang in the middle between the 2 and the 1 board here. We'll use that as our guide. We're going to brake just fractionally before it. Again, not super hard on the peak pressure because, as you can see, we're steering the entire way into the corner here. And it's just really important to make sure that we keep the car within track limits here. So no grass really on the inside here. That's going to be our metric here. Just the way that the curbs are cut now, you can invalidate quite easily through here. So gently does it. Once the car gets straightened out ever so slightly, we can pull the car up a little bit more with a bit more brake pressure, and then through the double right, trying to keep the car as tight as possible so we can be as aggressive as possible with our throttle pickup. So keeping it nice and tight here. Hopefully the car will kick around quite nicely, and ideally full throttle then well before the 3rd of the 4 apexes here in the bus stop chicane. And if done correctly, then the exit should take care of itself. Trying to make sure that we get parallel to the edge of the curbing here so that we don't then invalidate as we cut across the little bit of grass here between the curb and the apron here. So from here, it'll look a little something like this, and then from here we keep the car nice and tight to the inside, as close to the yellow line as possible, and we'll keep it absolutely pinned all the way to the line. Just a note, for qualifying, you, I believe, are allowed to use the apron beyond the pit exit, or pit entry, sorry, but certainly not in race trim unless you want to pick up a ban. Yeah, that's a lap at Daytona in the Mercedes-AMG GT4. Thanks for watching. Make sure to go to apexracingac.com for your free Mercedes-AMG GT4 data pack for the rest of the season. For further questions and info, join our Discord server, which you can access with your subscription, and we also host a group coaching session on a Tuesday evening, so make sure to check the details in the Mercedes-AMG GT4 car channel once you've signed up. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.